Hello, Megan.
Hello, Michelle.
Welcome to the Spicy Brain podcast. Where we are navigating neurodiversity with curiosity, joy, and
Radical acceptance. High kick.
You always go down now, don't you? Because of mom.
Do I?
Yeah.
I don't know.
She told you she couldn't hear the high kick when you would do it up high, so now you always go
high kick.
Oh.
High kick.
I think
I don't know. I think I'm like, don't go this endorphin.
So welcome to anybody who's new. We're so happy to have you here. We keep having new people join and enjoy. And those of you who are returning, you know, our OGs, we love you too. Hi, shout out to Taryn. We heard from Heather the other day, one of our former producers. Love to hear from you guys. So please keep telling us what you like and what you're taking away from what we're doing. Notice I didn't say don't tell us what you don't like. We don't want to know that, actually. Like, we're fine. Just tell.
That's funny. I heard from Matt too. He had, oh gosh, now I'm gonna have to go back and remember. He was telling me about like one of the podcasts and something, and I've already forgotten. So I'm gonna have to go look it up and see.
Go look it up while I kind of do my thing here for a minute and you ignore me. Anyway, all right. So normally we
perfect.
Normally we're going through a book, and right now we are continuing on with our book, which is Essential Guide to Raising Complex Kids by Elaine Taylor Clouse. And we were asked sort of by the community to do one on parenting, and her version of complex kids that she talks about are those that have both biological as well as like brain-based as well as metabolic-based differences and complexities. And so, again, brain-based is like ADHD, anxiety, learning disability, sensory processing, oppositional defiant, autism, depression, and metabolic, and a host of others. And metabolic issues would be like juvenile diabetes, celiacs, food allergies. And her point to this really, I think, is that it's just more complex to raise a kid who's dealing with one of these things. And oftentimes, a lot of these things are hereditary or genetic. And so you might be dealing with them as a parent as well. And so when we started this book, I feel like 5,000 months ago, because we always go deep dive, like sentence by sentence, sometimes in the book. So sorry, if you don't like deep dives and you want someone just to get through a book, we are not your girls. But
not your girl, not it.
But what I think her point of it is really just that, and actually not her point, but our point was that you could be parenting a child, a biological child, an adopted child, a found, right? Like in your community, you're just part of their village that you happen to be raising. Or it could be raising yourself. And so you've sort of taken the version of this that it's, your inner child. So I love going through this. Yeah, this adulting. So we're in this, we're going to talk about some things. But before we do that, did you find what Matt talked about?
Yeah, Matt was saying, I think it was a couple episodes back that he's actually seen that, like, some of the discussions that we're having about kids, like he's actually seen himself as a kid when we're describing it. And then other things that he's realizing that he still does to this very day. So I thought that was really interesting that, like, as we're kind of going through this, like, even though we're talking about children, being able to recognize in yourself, like, what you did as a kid is so important, because then you can kind of, like, I see that there are things that have totally shifted. Like, I'm not nearly as fidgety. No,
you're
not nearly as fidgety as I used to be, like, as far as like moving around all constantly.
Yeah. And like, you keep your clothes on almost all the time when you're in public.
Almost all the time when I'm in public.
Which is super helpful.
I just recently bought a robe because I'm like, okay, mom's coming to live here. I better get a robe so that I can still like just throw on something quick. Because I'm like, I don't want to always go through and like put my pants on and put my bra on and put my, I'm like, I just want to throw it on quickly. It's too much work. It's too much work.
Oh my gosh. So, okay. So also just to remind everybody, we are not professionals by any stretch of the imagination.
Yes,
we're just, just sisters.
Sisters.
Talking through a book, and we found the discussions helpful. So what I wanted to go to today was we're still on this chapter 7, which is my kid is just not motivated, right? And so we've talked a lot about this difference between the primitive brain and the frontal cortex, the frontal lobe, and how really going back to this idea of executive functioning. And so there's these 6 areas she says of executive functioning. And anytime I do a list, Megan just starts snoring immediately. So I'm assuming many people do, but I'm going to say the list anyway, and you can interrupt me anytime, Maggie. We talked about interruptions. We'll have a whole other one about interrupting because I think that was very interesting for us. But so task management, attention management, energy management is one of those ones. Emotional management. These are all things executive functioning oversees.
Really? Oh.
Uh-huh.
Damn,
Information management. Information management and action management, which is like, getting stuff done or not doing something, right? Impulsivity kind of things. So task management, I think, is always the thing, especially for school. That
what people focus on or fixate on.
I think so. Don't you? And
attention. It's tangible. It's tangible.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, right.
It's so she's
clear. Like, it's organizing, initiating, prioritizing your activities. And she puts this list of like, what does it look like when people struggle with this, with their executive functioning? And so we might have talked about this a little earlier, but I want to just go through it again. Has difficulty getting started. Okay. Procrastinates. Yep. Knows what needs to be done, but is unable to, quote unquote, get it done.
Me trying to take a shower this morning. Yep.
Difficulty prioritizing and sequencing. Like, what's more important? Yeah.
You know what I found was more important this morning before me taking a shower?
Yeah.
Finding a heating pad for Lady.
So our dog went with Megan back to California. And she's gone from like 90-degree weather to like, what is it, 50s or something there?
Yeah,
right
50s, yeah.
And she's got a good coach. She's a golden, right? But she's older and she's got arthritis. And you took her out for mom because mom's going out in a little bit. But
and they shaved her a bit more so that she doesn't have quite the same fur, like undercoats that like she, because she like, if she's having trouble getting squatting, then like, that stuff gets everywhere.
Gets a little bit dirty. Yeah. Down there. Yeah. So she's shaking like a leaf.
Well, and I was wondering if maybe it's just like, also just having a warm, you have a warm body next to, and you're just like, it's just comfy and snuggly. And you're like, I just feel so good. Even though you have like your little nose is cold, but then you're still like wrapped up in your blanket. And so that was what I prioritized today before taking a shower. Yeah. Remember I was like, hey, I got sidetracked with Lady.
That's what it was. I love it. So the next thing she says is that people tend to like fail in time management.
Yep. I was an hour late today. Hour and 15 minutes actually.
Last minute and appear to the untrained eye as lazy. So that was not lazy. You were not lazy. You were working hard.
No, but then I did sit for a bit because I was just like, I don't know. I just was sitting and then I knew I needed to take a shower. So Michelle and I were going to meet you guys at 1 p.m. Well, no, originally it was 12. And then I messaged because I was like, I got sidetracked. And then I spent another hour, like another 40 minutes, just like saying I need to go. And then Brian showed me this, like, he got a couple Hallmark movies for us to watch. Oh. And so he wanted to make sure that one of the frame rates was okay. So I'm like, he's like showing it to me. And then I started watching it and I was like, I know I need to take a shower, but it's fine. I have time. It's like, it's only 12:15. Okay. It's only 12:30. Yeah. It's fine. It's only 12:04. And I was like, it's 12:40 to Megan. No, it's 12:45. You got to get it in the shower right now. And literally got in the shower at 12:45 and I'm like, you gotta take a shower right now, and so I was 15 minutes late.
Okay, so this is great because when we get to the end of this part of the chapter, I mean, this chapter's dense. Okay, it's one of these meaty, dense ones, but she has this idea of like what motivates people, and one of them, the acronym she uses is PINCH, PINCH, and P is play, and then there's interest and novelty and competition, and the last one is H, hurry. And she says hurry.
That's a true one.
Yeah, urgency can act as a motivator. Okay, when used, but be careful because you shouldn't overuse it. But it can be helpful, but true. Don't overuse it. So anyway, that's where the whole like, when you have, what is it, your cortisol levels. I keep hearing about that from everybody right now, but like cortisol levels are high. You might be using the hurry motivational technique a little too much.
A little too much.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe.
Yeah. So you identify with the task management one.
100%.
Yeah. Okay. Let me tell you what I identify with this.
Okay.
Nothing. I don't identify with the task management at all, but I do identify with others. Okay. I feel like only thing in my brain is like, get this done, then do that. Like, it's maybe the opposite, like where I need to like shut it off.
Okay. But when you're spinny, Michelle, is task
Oh.
management hard?
Yes. When I'm in PTSD moments, it is super hard. Yeah. I was trying to clean. I was having a tough weekend a little bit, right? Like we found out a really dear friend of ours got in a motorcycle accident. They were on a motorcycle and got in an accident. So it's, really tough. And so I was talking to you about this before. I think we did a little like mini pod. I don't know what we call those. A pod light, something, whatever.
An extra pod. A K pod.
A potty? No, that sounds bad.
A poddy. An M pod.
M pod. So we did one a little bit before we started this, and I was saying how I got spinny with that, and that actually I figured sort of out in therapy this last week that's like a form of dissociation for me. And so I was just like and I was trying to clean the kitchen. So this is hilarious. You'll laugh at this. So this maybe this is how I can empathize with the task management piece of it a little bit. So I go and I get started, and I usually just go around like kind of like counterclockwise or clockwise in my kitchen. I'll just start in one place and I just keep going all the way around until I finish the kitchen. And I started by the refrigerator, and I was like, oh, wait, I left something in my bedroom, and I went back to go get it. And then I came back, and then I like went over, and I was like, oh, I got to go back to that spot. But I didn't start in that spot. I started over because I thought I had already finished that spot. So then I got to that other spot, and I was like, oh, wait, I didn't finish the one back here. So then I looked back, and I'm like, oh, but I forgot the dishwasher. So I kept going. I got it done. But it was all, is that your life? Is that how it is?
Okay. It's like that, but like a little bit worse. But yeah, that was exactly what happened this morning. It was like, okay, for instance, I got up to I got up and I was going to get food for the dogs. And then, so I got them all taken care of. I talked to you guys. We did our thing, chatted for a bit. And then afterwards I was like, okay, I got to make coffee. So I go to like clean out the coffee thing. And then I'm halfway through the coffee thing, and I realize, you know what? I should do the other coffee thing first because my hands are still going to be wet. I don't want them both to be wet. So then I was like, great, I'll do that. And then something else happened where I think I heard Lady get up. And so then I wanted to go check on her, and I hadn't already finished. And then I realized she was cold. And that's when I was like, oh, I should get her one of those little things. But then I thought, no, I shouldn't get her a heating pad because I need to finish the coffee first. And then when I'm finished with the coffee, I can do it. So then I get the coffee all set up. I put it up on the thing. And then I'm like, what am I forgetting? What was I going to do again? And then I was like, oh, right. What was it again? And then it's like, oh, right, Lady. So then I go take care of Lady. And I'm like, wait, but which one do I want to? It was like a whole mess. It was a whole, like, I'm literally going back and forth, ping-ponging the entire time. And then I think I did get the coffee done, but then I didn't get the milk set up. Like, so I have to like get the milk set up, and it was it's a lot. And I'm exhausted already. And it's like, it's only like 10 o'clock. It's like I'm exhausted.
So I think that's like when they say like you got to get diagnosed to make sure you don't have PTSD first, because mine's more PTSD related versus like something's ADHD. Yeah, I get that now. All right, I do empathize. I take it back. I do empathize. I do understand or have the feeling of what that is. All right, let's talk about attention management. Focusing, sustaining, and shifting attention to task.
Sorry.
So this is how I know this is one of yours, because it's like gets bored easily. Yes, anytime I'm talking, that is true. Requires genuine interest to sustain focus. Is that true for you?
It's so fucking true. It's so true.
Are you distractible? Squirrel. That's another one. I guess it's like, this was interesting. Difficulty, what is important to focus on? Like what should I be focused on?
My shower. The shower was important. lady could have waited. She had no idea that there was a heating pad available to her. And I was like, no, the
She
heating
needs
pad
that
must
first.
come first.
And did she use it, by the way?
Oh, yeah. She's like totally snuggled. Like she's been passed out for the last 3 hours.
Aw. See,
Yeah.
she did need that first. You were right. I
Yeah.
think your instinct was right. Okay, you can hyper focus.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, okay. You get stuck on something like common with quote unquote video games is what she said.
Oh,
And I was like,
I can see that with
interesting.
Brian.
Yeah.
I mean, like if you get stuck on something, like you mean like, are you hyper focusing, or like do you get stuck in a spot and you can't like go away from it because you're like, I have to figure it out, and you're like stuck. You're like, stuck, not like
Yeah. I'm thinking it's like you can't stop yourself from doing it, but it could be for various reasons, right?
yeah.
Like you could be
Like
not
I can't stop
stopping.
myself from playing puzzles. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's interesting to me is I don't have very much free time usually. So, and that's, partly just from like working and being a mom, but I think part of it is just, I tend to kind of like book myself with things. So
Yeah.
it's when I do have free time, I do feel that sense of like, I just don't want to get off this couch. And I will be honest with you, I was a little late to our thing because we had planned at a certain time. And then you said, well, like, can we have more time? And I'm like, of course, no problem. But then I didn't have anything to do. So I was just on the couch watching Miss Scarlet and the Duke and like loving life, not wanting to get up out of that couch.
Good,
it's
Michelle?
so good. It's so good. I love it
If
so
you
much.
guys
I
have-
love
if
a
you
murder
guys-
mystery.
It's so good, you guys. If any of you have like our donate to PBS, like or donate to your local PBS, you can actually
I
get
think it's
a
the passport,
free,
right? PBS passport
yeah,
or
you
something.
can get a free
Yeah.
like passport account if you donate to them. And so I just donate $5 a month to them, and
Yeah.
and it's on there. It's Scarlet and the Duke. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, it's
So
not just
good.
murder. It's like just she is a female detective in London during a time when there are no female detectives. So it's great.
Yeah.
Great show. Okay. Unable to move off a task, that attention management. I think that's kind of what we're saying.
Yes, like, stay. I'm like, I can't finish watching the cheesy Valentine show because I need to take a shower. Like, I just can't do it. I'm like, I know, I can't. Yeah.
Totally.
And then I had to hurry to finish it, yeah.
Yeah. So this is all executive functioning, the thing that tells you to get up off the couch. Like, luckily for me, you told me to get up off the couch because you texted me. Right. And so then I had to get up off the couch. But, normally like I guess normal is the wrong word, but, like our executive functioning, our frontal cortex is supposed to help us with that stuff.
Do that.
Apparently. Okay. Energy, effort, and like energy and effort, which I thought that's interesting. She coordinated energy and effort, but like effort management. And I want to know this one really interests me with you.
Yeah.
She says, you might have issues around this because she also says not everyone has all of these things generally. So it executive functioning can affect all of these things, but you might have more or less of it depending on what the thing is you're doing or just who you are. But okay, so tires quickly when required to sit quietly. Is that
so? It's so true.
I'm just thinking
true.
of you when we grew up at church, like just
Oh my God.
falling dead asleep. We would like lift you out of church on a regular basis.
I know. Or like in the
I don't know.
car, we need to like sit in the car. I'm just like by passing out because it's like what else are you gonna do?
Yeah. Okay. So has trouble maintaining alertness, needs steady stimulation or feedback, physical or mental, to stay alert.
Yes.
Well, see, this is why like you playing softball or any game with balls would be bad, right? Because if you don't, if you're not constantly staying alert, like basketball would have been okay because you would have been running.
No,
but
but
if
even
you're standing out in the outfield,
running gets boring.
But if you're standing out in the outfield and you're
could
like
you imagine
not paying
me?
attention, no.
It's like la 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 la. Boom! I got hit by the head with the
surprised
softball.
you can drive to be.
I mean, it's
you
true.
Can drive.
No,
Yeah.
this is why I have that little thing on my steering wheel to like keep me constant. I have that thing that I
Constant
touch on my steering
stimulation.
wheel. Yeah.
Oh, right. That's right. I forgot about that.
Mhm.
Okay. This one I don't think is true for you, but processes slowly. I guess it can be.
It depends on what's type it. Yeah, like I like if I'm not in my learning style, I process very slowly.
Yeah. Do you have an example of that?
Do I have an example?
Well, I don't know.
I mean, do
You
we
seem
want to
very
talk
quick
about this
to me.
morning? Do
Do
you
we?
want to talk about this
I,
morning,
d-
what I was doing with my
I,
husband?
I, well, that sounds salacious, but go for it.
Oh,
Let's do it.
yes. No, so like I've been trying to learn New York Times crossword puzzles because I've never
Oh,
like Brian does them and I'm like he's
huh.
so freaking good at them and I'm just not. And it
Okay.
like there's a little competition of me. I'm like, wait, why? Like this is a puzzle.
Oh,
How am I not good at a
okay.
puzzle?
Right.
So I've been like, so I have this like book of Thursday puzzles that I gave him like at one point for deployment, and he didn't really they did one or two of them. And that was it.
Okay.
So I was like, well, I'll just do them. So that tells you how long I've had the book. So I've been going through them and I like literally go through like maybe a few of them at a time and I'll go to like the next page and I'm just like kind of like trying to find the easy ones. And then like once the easy ones were done, it's like, I gotta like really learn how to do this. So I've been learning like strategies and all kinds of
Yeah.
things. And Brian gives me little tips and tricks here and there. But today there was a clue that said turn blue question mark, turn blue.
Mm.
And
Mm.
by the time I kind of figured it out, I'm like, oh, I think it like it's moped or something. You know, it's like was moping or mope. I think that would fit, but there's only 4 letters, and I was like, oh,
Mm.
but like moped is like you didn't turn blue. Like, oh, if you turned blue, like it's no, that would be an ed because it's past tense. This is what Brian taught me about tenses, right? So fascinating. So then I realized I go back and look at the clue and it says turn blue, not turned blue. And I was like, oh, wait, it's turn blue, which means it's present, which means that mope would work. Yay! And I was so proud of myself. And I tell this to
Good
Brian
job.
and he's just like, oh my God, Meg, you understand tenses. And I'm like, oh yeah, I understand tenses. That's no problem. Okay, guys, okay, back up for a second. Me and grammar, we don't get
So
along.
good.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just not
Yeah.
happy.
Never
Like
have. No.
me and grammar have like serious PTSD trauma from Mrs. Sheridan.
God.
5th grade grammar teacher,
Yeah.
and I never
Yeah.
understood it. And I mean, I'm sure she's a lovely lady, but I never understood it. And so it was so
Yeah.
painful for me. So
Yeah.
he's always like, Brian's like the grammar guru god
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
grammar.
He's a
He's the
linguist.
GG, he's the god of grammar. So he was like, oh, so if you understand tenses, this is great. Let's talk about grammar. And I was like, no, let's not. And then he's trying to help me figure it out. And I like, guys, I literally like was just a raving lunatic this morning. So I was just like, no, you're not listening to me. And you're not taking it in the way that I need to know how to deal with this in my time and my way. And I realized like after doing this podcast, I am a total visual learner. And
Hmm.
I visualize things. And I was like, the reason that he's like, how do you know about tenses? And I said, no, I told him, ask me why I know about tenses. And he's like, why do you know about tenses? Because like when I think of a tense, like I imagine a person standing still and that's present. And if the person moves forward, that's future. And if the person moves backwards, that's past. And so like I have a visual representation of what
Mm.
past, present, and future looks like.
Mm.
So, and it doesn't make any sense, but it does to me. And
Sure.
so then we start talking about like nouns, adjectives, verbs, and
I just like
adverbs.
even the way you say it. Nouns.
Nouns. And so like he was trying to like say, well, let's just use Daisy because you like Daisy. And
Yeah.
so I was like, and I literally had to like close my eyes and I had to be like, okay, ask me a question. And I'm like holding my eyes shut and like, ask me the question. He's like, so what is Daisy a noun, a verb, an adjective? And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
Daisy. And I'm like, Daisy is a noun. So that, and then he starts asking, like, he starts repeating something. And I was like, stop, Elaine. Ask me the question again. Like, what is Daisy? Daisy's a noun. And I'm now imagining a picture of Daisy and I'm writing the word noun on top of her. Okay, I've got my noun. what's next? He's like, okay, Daisy, what did he call
Crazy
her? Oh,
Daisy.
yeah, Daisy. Like, what is crazy? Is crazy an adjective? And I was like, okay, Daisy, and then crazy, and then like, okay, so it's sort of like, in Charlie Brown with like Pigpen, and how Pigpen has like this like dust that's like, or dirt flying off of him. It's like, I imagine crazy is just like flying all around Daisy, and that's the adjective. And he's like, okay. And so he like finally kind of got it. And he's like, okay, so now what about the verb? And I was like, well, I sort of imagine Daisy as she's twirling and
Mm,
she's like, as she's creating a cartoon arrow on the floor where she's twirling. And I imagine
mm,
that arrow is the verb. And then he's like,
mm.
great, that's the verb. And then he's like, now he's like trying to go into the adverb. And I was like, this. And then I was like, no, I'm like, wait a minute. And then I was like, wait, does the adverb also have a pig pen surrounding it? And he's like, yes, Megan. And I was like, oh my God. So wait, you're telling me that the adjective is what surrounds the noun and the adverb is what surrounds the verb? He's like, yes, I've been trying to say this to you for 13 years. I'm like, well, I just finally got it.
So processing slowly sometimes happens for you.
Can I tell you? I was exhausted after I
Oh,
finally figured it out. I was
oh,
like, I
I
have been
bet it.
exhausted all morning. Like, I'm tired
Yeah.
right now,
Yeah,
except for
because
telling the story.
it's so funny because like the idea of like effort management that took so much effort, but you
So
can't
much
like
effort.
stop yourself in a way from expending that energy,
Right.
because you need that much to be able to get it in your brain. That's so interesting.
Because
So
I know he has told me about this specifically many times. And he's like, and he has a very succinct way of saying it, but it never sticks. It's that
mm,
post-it note with no sticky on it. Like, it's like he says something to me and it's like
yeah,
he's giving me a post-it note, but it's just a piece of paper and there's like no stick at all. So it's like, I have to figure out how do I make this, how do I turn this into a
yeah,
sticky notebook or a sticky tab? It's like, it's so hard. And
yeah,
it tires me.
yeah. And she does say like if we go down oh,
What?
tires you out.
It tires me out. Yeah.
It just tires
100%.
you out.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. One of the things she says I just wanted to bring up was this information management memory has trouble holding some information while working on other information.
Mm.
So that kind of sticks, right? Like you're trying to kind of hold the picture of Daisy while you're trying to take this other information down and place it on her. And it's like you're having to really like work so hard to do that because your brain just doesn't do it just like instantly.
Automatically. Yeah. Like, I literally had to
Yeah.
close my eyes. So I wasn't visually
Yeah.
seeing anything else. So I wasn't taking any other sensory
Right.
information. Then the other thing too is that, like, I've had the same issue with ChatGPT when I'm like asking for help or
Mm,
something. And like
mm,
ChatGPT will like ask me a bunch of questions in a row. And I think we've talked about this. I'm like, just
mhm.
ask me one question at a time and shut up. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's like, and
Yeah.
he was like asking me a question and I'm like, great, I can go with the question. But then as soon as he started saying like, he said like, is Daisy a noun, a verb, or an adjective? And then, no, what is, he says like like Daisy's crazy. Like, okay, is crazy the adjective, verb, whatever. And then he's like crazy Daisy. And then I was like, no, you said Daisy is crazy. And then you're saying crazy Daisy. And I'm like, what's happening? Like, you're starting to teach again. I'm like, no. Ask me the question. Don't teach. I don't even know if this makes any sense. But
Yeah,
like,
it does
he just, like,
actually.
I'm like, just stop talking after you, like, ask me the question.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Stop talking. I
It
gotta
was really funny
visualize
because
it.
you were telling mom this story kind of like earlier, right? And
Mhm.
we were on FaceTime and she goes, "And you know what else, Megan?" And you're like, "No, nothing else." And I'm like covering her mouth with like I'm like, "Don't do it, don't
I tried to
overload her.
mute
She
her.
just got it."
I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna mute you. And then I ended up muting myself.
I know. Talk about
But
impulse
you know
control.
what's
She
even
couldn't
funnier?
not say it. She couldn't not say
She
it. It
couldn't.
was really
She had like this one
had
thing. She
to.
has
Yeah.
the like impulsiveness.
Yeah.
But the funny part is like, so you guys, she's like trying to tell me that like I can turn any noun into a verb.
Mm.
which is crazy, right? But then I'm recounting to Brian, talking to you guys, and he's like, but you know what's crazy, Megan, is that you can and I was like, don't you dare. I'm like, I don't want to know. He's like, you can make any adjective of
An adverb.
an adverb. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, you and Mom, the two of you both are the same. I was like, forget the two of you guys. Whatever. I was like,
I'm over it. I'm over it.
over it.
Oh my gosh. So, okay. Do you identify with this though, with the energy and effort? It takes a long time to read and or write.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Well, because I
Okay.
think, again, this like whole sticking thing,
Doesn't
it
stick.
like, it doesn't stick. And so like I read a sentence and like, it's weird because I'm like, I first see a sentence. And so like, okay, I read the words, but like my first attempt is really just like, I'm literally just like looking at the actual letters. And while I'm reading it and I can sense, I can read the letters, I don't recognize what it's saying. Then I go back and I'm like, oh, Megan, go back and reread. And then it's like, I see that they're what color the letters are, even though I've said them out loud. I'm like, nope, go back and reread it. Okay. Now I'm like looking for like, I might see like the first few letters and actually recognize the word at that point. And then I have to go back and reread it again. I'm like, wait, no. And I had to like really focus hard. I'm like, what is this saying? And then I read it one time and I kind of have like an idea of like, okay, I've at least understood all of the words now, but then what does it all mean together? And then it's by the fifth time, I'm like, I finally understand the sentence.
And you're exhausted.
And I've only gotten through the first sentence of Gorillas of the Mist.
Oh, that was
the book.
Great book, but long book for sure.
But like, if I don't, the thing is like, what do we go back to if like I don't find it interesting, right? Like I can hyper focus on something if I find it interesting or stimulating.
But if you don't,
like I could get like, I got through Project Hail Mary, like no problem, because it was fascinating. But you hand me, you know, a Harpo Marx book that I just had to read recently, and I was like, I couldn't get the. I just didn't.
Are you kind of over book club already, or? I'm just kidding. It is hard though when people pick books that you're like, not so much, but or it's maybe it's really interesting to talk about it later, but the process of going through it could be kind of rough. Yeah.
I did enjoy talking to Nancy, the lady who can't hear. I did enjoy talking to her, like talking some serious smack about the book, because both of us didn't like the book. So we talked smack about the book on the way. So it did its job.
It bonded you.
Yeah, it did.
That's a part of book club, honestly.
Yeah.
It's like you got to have reactions to things. So one of the other pieces she talks about in this energy and effort management is hyperactivity, and like difficulty ensuring sort of quality work might be something you see from that. And I was like, I feel like your hyperactivity still comes out periodically, but like as a kid, I remember this so much.
So big. Well, I think the hyperactivity now comes out in my verbalness. Like, I mean, me just recounting that whole story. I probably could have recounted it much more succinctly, but I was so hyperactive that it just came out the way, because I listen, you know, I go back and I listen to me and I'm like, oh man, I could have said that differently. But in the moment, it's like, I can't even process how better I could say something. So I'm just like, I have to get it out right now. And I'm hyperactive. That's how I felt when I was a kid. I was just like, I have to do things and I'm going to move them quickly. And I'm just constantly going. It's just
so that's
now.
like, it's like the verbal manifestation of your physicalness when you were a kid.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because hyperactivity could be both verbal and physical, right? I mean,
Oh yeah. And mental.
Is hyperactivity, let's look it up. Hyperactivity.
Yeah.
Hyperactivity definition.
Extra active.
A state of abnormally high physical activity, restless movement, and ability to remain still. Okay, so it is physical activity. Oh wait, it's characterized by excessive energy, impulsive behavior, and short attention. Okay, so this is movement. I don't know. This is where I think like also your brain can be hyperactive.
Active, but we use it, I think, colloquially a lot of ways. Like we can say like your brain's hyperactive too. So
yeah. Crazy daisy. Okay, and then it said it also could manifest itself by having trouble regulating your
body's engine, which I was like, what does that mean? Your body's engine. But like you can't control how fast or slow or whatever you're going, maybe. I
I
don't
can't
know.
control how quickly I'm talking sometimes. Remember, Michelle, I was like, they
Yeah.
always used to, like, for those of you who are, 80s and 90s kids, they used to have the motor mouth guy, the
Oh, yeah. He
micro
talked
machines guy, and
so
he talked
fast.
super
Yes.
fast.
Yeah.
And like, I talked super fast, but you couldn't actually understand me.
Mm.
So,
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was a little terrible.
but
Yeah.
also like when I saw this the first time and I saw energy effort management, what I thought was like, I found it interesting because I was like, oh my gosh, like I get so drained so quickly.
Yeah. That's
And
what I was thinking. Like your battery, you don't have control over it.
yeah, it's like, you have like this, it's like you have this like, energy, like battery bank, right? Like
Hmm.
you have like one of those like solar powered battery banks, and let's say like, your power goes out and that's all you have. And like if you plug a whole bunch of items into it, it's going to drain really, really quickly. Whereas
Yeah.
if like you just slowly used it a little bit here, a little bit there, then you'd be able to manage it over a longer period of time. I feel like ADHD, like I'm just constantly plugging in
More
things. I'm just
things.
like,
Lady,
lady,
coffee,
like, oh, my
shower,
skin, like my watching, like feeling, touching,
video.
hearing,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
everything I'm looking at is a
Mm,
potential plug.
mm. That's interesting.
And
Yeah.
this is the one that like I think I don't spend enough time really considering how this
Mm,
affects me, because this past 4 or 5 days since we got back from being with
mm,
you guys,
mm-hmm,
I have been super low energy,
mm.
and like not able to like, and my instinct was like, hey, I'm not going to really try to get back into like streaming and the business stuff until next week, because like I literally like just my brain is like not able to function for some reason. And I'm wondering if this is a part of it where it's like there's so many new stimuli and so much stuff that we did before and like changes and all these different things that like over time it just like drains me and I have to just recharge.
I think so. That totally makes sense. And I think when you're saying that, it's useful to kind of also have that as a reminder, like when you're coming back from something where your routine's
Mhm.
been disrupted, that you're going to need a week,
Yeah.
right? Or something to be able to kind of get yourself right again.
And yeah, that like that you can also need to recharge, but it doesn't mean that you're an introvert. Because
Right.
whenever I hear like I've never understood, like I clearly I'm not an introvert,
Right.
but
Mm-mm.
I do have these moments where like I need to recharge, and it's not necessarily I need to recharge um alone always. It's not always
Mm.
that. It's like I need to recharge, like my brain just like I don't even know what it is. Like, and I think that's something that we could probably be really curious about, but like
Yeah.
it's like my brain literally just needs to like check out,
Mm.
or I mean, I don't even know. Like I just this is one of the areas that I genuinely don't know, and think that like we could probably spend, a lot of time kind of thinking through, because I'm sure I'm not the only one. But
Yeah.
like
And
Brian doesn't have this issue. Like Brian has the opposite, like where he can't turn himself off. Whereas I like my brain's always wants to turn itself on. Wait, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
has endless energy. I have ended energy.
less.
I have less.
I was like, I don't know what the other opposite is either. Okay. I want to pose this thought. This is what I thought of
Okay.
when you said that, which is I think it takes so much effort for you to have to engage your executive functioning
It does.
that when you say I need to just be off for a minute, I think you're saying like I can't give effort to trying to have that part of my brain engage right now. Like I don't have the energy to do that.
Yeah, I just genuinely don't.
And you don't, right? Like it's not a motivation issue. It's that, and maybe it's motivation, I don't know, but I think it's like there's nothing that's going to like your dopamine is zapped.
It
Like
is.
you used all of it that you could, and it might have been from that hurry mentality or just all the novelty or all the things that did motivate you, Like, but
Yeah.
you actually don't have enough of the chemicals that you need for your brain to be able to do the things.
Yes.
That's I think that, like, she talks about this, that the brain just isn't fueled properly. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't have the right fuel it needs to be able to do those things, and that it takes a while to, like, I don't know how it works on a physiological level. That's interesting to me. But that's what I
Well,
think of when you say it.
and and it's almost like, and I wonder like if it's a certain type of task, because like in my mind, like when I get this way, I just want to work on a puzzle.
Yeah.
But I was like, but like doing a puzzle requires a lot of executive functioning, doesn't it? Like if we're thinking about like, I was looking it up because like
Well,
just
it's
working on,
highly interesting to you. So,
uh,
right? It's motivating to you. So it gives you a dopamine hit for whatever
yeah,
reason for you, right?
yeah,
So
that's
you
true.
need, like, you're low on dopamine, and so like your body's constantly trying to find it, and you're like, okay, I need to just like get that going again, and puzzles might be a way you would do that.
It's like I was trying to do puzzles on my phone, and that feels like it's
Mm,
zapped me even more, and, like, I kinda wonder, like, what would happen if I pull out a puzzle, like a physical puzzle today? Because like, I have a lot of stuff I gotta get done
mm,
there around the house, and I'm just
yeah,
like, I mean, you can see it in my eyes, like, I'm just exhausted, and, like, I'm like, I really just
yeah.
wanna, like, leave after this and just, like, pass out, but I know that's actually not gonna help ultimately. Like, I wonder if, like, a physical puzzle would get me, like,
You
a
should
little bit of
try
that
it.
dopamine rush, and then
Yeah.
help me so that I can like say, okay, if I'm gonna like be very strategic today about like I'm gonna get my little timer, my little Pomodoro timer, and I'm gonna give myself 20 to 30 minutes just to work on my puzzle. And then I'm
Hmm.
gonna force myself just to get up for 5 minutes and see what happens. But only
I
five
love
minutes.
that.
And then I'm gonna come back and work
Yeah.
on my puzzle again. So it's like I get the
Be
whole
on
day
my
to do my
puzzle.
puzzle,
Yeah.
but I want to see
With
what
little five
happens in
minute,
those
like,
5 minute breaks and like if I can actually get myself out. I mean, that would be interesting to try.
I love that. And I think that's really part of what we've sort of come to over this, is like just doing these little experiments to see. I remember, like, our dad always used to say, well, just make a game of it, and it can be, anything can be fun
Mhm.
and motivating. And I'm like, it's funny to me because I do find myself, I do that a lot, like play, but no one else would think it was fun.
Yeah.
Just my
Well, and
version of it isn't. But
we're
like, I'll time
yeah.
myself sometimes just because I'm like, ooh, can I get it done in under 20 minutes? Like, what can I get done in 5 minutes? Like, I think that's fun, but I don't
Well, and
think
weren't you
anybody
the
else
one
thinks it's fun.
where you were saying earlier, like before we started recording, that like some of these tasks, like some of these things will work for some people and some of them
Yeah.
won't? Because
Yeah.
like
Cause she
honestly,
talks
like
about like all these different management things, but then it's like, yeah, some of them, some of the
because
actual
I
suggestions she
what's
has don't
interesting
work
is
for
like
everybody.
I get the idea of a game, right? Like that makes sense logically to
Hmm.
me. And what's weird is like I don't enjoy making things games. But I
Yeah.
do know that like other friends, like my friend Lauren, she loves to
Yeah.
make games, you know? And
Yeah.
I know that like Brian loves to make things into games. And so it's like it's so interesting that like yeah, cuz like games they just don't engage
Mm-mm.
me in the same way. Like and also like I have
No.
to think of the game and like come up with the game and I'm like, "Oh, I don't want to like create the game." Like that just sounds like too much
Yeah.
stress for me. It's like
Yeah.
decorating my island on Animal Crossing. Like I don't want to decorate my island. I just want to sit and fish. I don't want to create a game. I just want to get it done.
Yeah.
But I don't have any motivation to get it done.
But I do think you do use interest and novelty a lot to
That's
get
true.
things done. So like she says, like, boring equals kryptonite for anybody who's got ADHD. And I was like, that's so
100%,
true. Like,
a thousand
your
percent.
kid, right? If they do well because the teacher's interesting to them or they're interested in this subject, then this might be an area that they're struggling with. But that interest also might be a motivator. So it's like you're
Mm.
really interested in puzzles. So it might motivate you. So that's good to think of that. Like, I need that interest first before
Like
I
if
can
I'm
get
feeling
motivated to
this
do others.
way, yeah,
Yeah.
like maybe it might help me. I mean, I have trouble remembering things, right? So like I'm looking at this sticky note, which actually is not sticking to anything at the moment, but I
What an analogy. Okay.
I know, right? It's so it has like cat hairs and everything on it. See?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm. I
but
see
what's
it.
interesting is like so for instance, like on Twitch when I'm doing like guys, I'm a streamer. I'm a streamer now. Who am I? But like there's people that come in and I want to remember certain things about people. So I have like all these little stickies of like ways to remember people. And there's a whole bunch of them who are all bald, these bald boys. And I
Mhm.
just think I just kind of giggled me and like they all they own the fact that they're bald. And I'm
Mm.
like, that's great. So I'm gonna create my bald batty boys club. And I literally have like bald batty boy written down there. And so now I'm like, oh my gosh, Rye and Matt and Malik and G. Those are my bald batty boys. And so like if I ever have another person who comes in who's like bald, I'm like, hey, do you want to be part of the bald batty boys? Because it's fun to say. It's like Rudy
Yeah.
Tooty Fresh and Fruity. So much
Yeah.
fun to say. It's my bald batty
Yeah.
boys. Oh, you
Yeah.
want to be part of the B cubed bald batty boys? So like I do come up with like weird
Well,
things to help me
she
remember.
does say like play isn't just about games. She's like play, creativity, and humor. She puts those in the same category. So
I
I
do
think you
humor for
use
sure.
creativity and humor a lot
Mm-hmm.
to keep yourself motivated. But I like the idea too though of interest or something that's fun that gets you like that. Maybe there's like a spring effect, meaning like you get to do your puzzle and then maybe that springs you to motivate you to do something else, right? I
It
don't
would be
know.
really
That'd be interesting
interesting
to
because,
try.
like, I literally have, like, after having that conversation with Brian today, I'm like,
Yeah,
my head
I
feels like it
am.
went through a cheese grater. And I have an actual headache today. But I do
Yeah,
know I have things I had to get done. So I like, if I could just get a few things done, I would feel so much better about myself. So I'm
you
going to
would.
try it, Michelle. I'm going to try it
Okay.
in earnest.
Okay, I'm going to bring us to our last two management things just so like we kind of close this
Wrap
up,
up.
which is information management, which is exactly what you're talking about. You have trouble holding some information while working on other information, and so um it ends up causing you to have to spend a lot more energy than
Mm-hmm.
maybe normally.
Yep.
You have trouble with like complex math problems, or sometimes with writing is an indicator, right? That this might
Mm-hmm.
be an issue.
I remember I used to
This,
always be terrible at writing.
yeah,
It was
I
just so overwhelming.
I wanted to talk to you about this one. She says forgets feelings of love and connection when upset.
Mm-hmm.
And so like when you're like overloaded with information, that's why I didn't connect those two at the beginning, but like you're
Mm.
in this state of like I have information overload, there's something coming in, and I was thinking about Josh and and Josh is now an adult and he gave me permission to talk about him, but he's got ADHD. And whenever we're doing math together, which is hard for him, it's like he forgets I love him,
Yeah.
right? And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's interesting."
I
So
wonder
like
if that is somehow due to the fact that like when so today, right?
I
Like I
don't
was
know he
overloaded
forgets
with
I love him,
information.
but it
No,
feels
but
like that.
I
Yeah.
think we do. Like no, I think it's a legitimate thing. Like I think like we do forget. I forget that people like care about me or know me. I'm always assuming that people
Yeah.
don't remember who I am.
Yeah.
And because I think that I do if it's not in front of me, like I have like emotional permanence. And but what I was thinking is like today, like, I had to legitimately like close my eyes in order to see the daisy with the noun written on top of her.
Mm.
So I wonder if part of it is like you have to turn off your senses, like your emotional senses in order like when you're overwhelmed with like emotion like with information, like when I get so overwhelmed, like I'm constantly bringing in emotional data, like every little micro movement, micro expression.
Mhm.
I'm picking up on it all. So if I'm emotionally overwhelmed, I'm it's like I have to almost shut off my emotions.
If
Sorry,
you're like
if I'm informationally
informationally.
overwhelmed, I
Yeah.
have to shut off my emotions in order to
Huh.
even deal with it. I wonder if that's part of it.
That kind
Because
of
aren't
makes
they
sense. Yeah, they're different
they're
parts of
different
your
parts of the
brain.
brain, right?
Yeah. So it's like your brain's trying to superpower this one area and it's cutting off the other area. Oh, that's interesting. That's an
It's a
interesting
thought. I
theory.
don't know if
Yeah.
that's true or not, but it's just my thought.
Yeah. And she says like for information management, like you might also be seeing that you're forgetful, which I think is the most classic like ADHD thing people say, but it does make sense. Like if executive functioning is hindered, then
Well,
you're going to
if your
forget things, right?
if your stickies aren't very sticky, they're gonna fall off. Like
Yeah.
I always tell Brian, I'm like, you can't tell me something once and expect me to remember it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're gonna have to tell it to me over and over and over again before it'll become a routine or before I'll remember.
Right.
And sometimes even
Yeah.
then I won't. And it's not that I don't love you. It's not that I don't care about you. It's just like my
Right.
brain does not
Do
work that
this.
way.
Yeah. And I think as you've owned that more and felt more comfortable saying that's what that is, it helped, I think, didn't it?
It does because like I think I don't beat myself up for it anymore. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like I don't remember. I don't remember. And like I just kind of laugh it
Mm-hmm.
off because it's like it's not as big of a deal anymore to me. And I think it also helps because like what I do notice like when I am stressed out, my ADHD is much much worse. And
Mm.
so I have a predisposition to ADHD, but stress and difficult times, they will exacerbate it for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. My PTSD situations definitely get worse when there's extra stuff happening.
Yeah. Like for instance, I'm like stressed out right now that like I think we went over emotional management and I'm like, did we talk about emotional management? I can't remember. Was that part of the
Mm.
energy of management? And so like I'm seeing
It
that there's a
is.
number
Yeah.
we missed, but then I couldn't like hear you for like the
Oh,
first part of information management.
actually, you're right. I did skip over emotional management. No, I did. You're right. Good job.
Okay, but
Way
I
to have a
was
sticky.
Thank you. But like I was, but no, I have it's right in front of me. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's stuck. But the thing is like I was nervous about it. And so then I literally couldn't hear what you were saying when you first started talking about emotional management. I
Oh.
did not hear like the first
Because
few
you're like,
sentences
wait
that
a
came out of your
minute,
mouth.
you skipped one, Michelle. Oh my
Right.
gosh,
And
well,
I'm
see,
like,
there's
but
my
then I was
dyslexia
like,
too.
did you skip one or did
Uh-huh.
I just assumed that
I
it was
did.
my fault. Like I was like, and I was going
Oh,
back trying to like recall everything. I'm like, wait, did she add things in there? Did she not? And I'm like, oh no, maybe she
oh
didn't.
man, I'm
And
so
so like,
sorry.
no, it's
Yes.
fine. But like, this is, I think of, the reason why I call these things out is because it helps me to have something very permanent and specific to tell people
Yeah.
as opposed to like this nebulous thing.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because emotional management, she talks about that there's like a low frustration threshold, short fuse,
Mm-hmm.
impatient, difficulty regulating emotions. So,
That was me this morning.
right,
I'm like,
100%.
no, shut up, Brian. No, I was so mad at him.
And then she says it's like people tend to be oversensitive, which I think you would take issue with the over part. You're like,
Well, I
I'm
was
not
back in the day. Like, I'm not too sensitive. I'm sensitive, but I'm not too sensitive.
too sensitive. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like responding inappropriately, taking things personally. I do that all the time still. Easily taken over by emotions. That can definitely be me sometimes.
And
So
that is
I get
like
that one.
why trauma and
Mhm.
ADHD, you
You
don't
got to
know which
figure
one is
out.
which.
Yeah.
Because yeah, like there are things that like I wildly respond inappropriately to time traveling, like going into the future, going into the past,
Yeah.
with my PTSD. But I also like while like Brian tried, so you guys, let's bring us back to today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I get the whole thing of like Daisy's the noun, right? She's got a pig pen dirt around her. That's the adjective.
Yeah.
And I was like, so basically, if I'm trying to explain to you what I'm visually looking at, like the object is surrounded by the adjective, and the verb is surrounded by the adverb. And he's like, yes, but you know what you could also do is you could call the object a noun. And I'm like, no, it's my object. And he's like, no, Meg, but it isn't. And I was so mad. I'm like, no, it is. I am not using the word noun. You can't make me use it. It's an object. And he's like, but Megan, not all nouns are objects. And I'm like, I know. I am not using the word object the way that you want me to use the word object. So it's object with an asterisk. Because that's a whole other thing. In the science community, they're like, oh, all birds are categorized like this. They all have feathers. Asterisk. Well, maybe a few birds that don't have feathers, but we're trying to be specific. And I'm just like, I don't care about the asterisk. I don't care. So,
Yes. Object.
I had a little bit of inappropriate response to the word noun. Sure. Whatever. So emotional management, I get that. I have difficulty modulating the emotions on that one.
So task management, attention management, energy effort management, which is interesting because I think that one you really are experiencing today, along with emotional management, I think.
Along with emotional and information management.
And information management.
It's a trifecta.
Okay, and this impacts, I think, the action management, which is monitoring and regulating self-action. So at times, like when we're all overwhelmed and whatever, then the hyperactivity, the impulsivity, the making inappropriate comments or jokes, confronting friends or family at the wrong time, interrupts or calls out in class. I think when you were little, this was a bigger one, right? For you maybe.
Oh,
but
yeah. I could not know.
Yeah. Having trouble keeping up with the conversation.
And that's the thing is today, like I have felt the number of times I've stopped myself from interrupting you, Michelle, trying to interrupt you, like interject. Like it's consistent today. It's like
it's all day.
It's like I want it to be all about me and nobody else. And I'm just, and you're just going to go with me, Michelle. And I'm sorry. Yes, you're here, but you're here for me to like play with, like play against. Like, it's like, you're here for my pleasure. Okay. No one else's.
So the last part she says is exhibits randomness, which
Britney Spears, Michelle. I'm just going to say Britney Spears.
Oh my gosh.
You guys, you'll have a little Mouge Bouge episode coming your way, whenever
we have trouble like meeting up to actually do a podcast. We have these little ones. Yeah.
It seems random, but then it all makes sense. I mean, think about all the times, you guys, that I have like made the most random connections to things. And it comes back eventually once Michelle sort of tailors it in, but it's like, it seems like it's like out of nowhere. And it's like, no, it's very, there was a time, I remember this is a core memory of mine. We were in our car driving to Avila Beach one summer, and I had a total non sequitur, and everyone was just like, and you for the first time were like, Meg, where did that come from? And no one had ever asked me before, and I was like, oh, well, we were talking about this, and then I was looking outside and I saw the license plate in front of us, and it was from a certain state, and that state reminded me of this, and this thing reminded me of that, and then the color of the numbers on the plate of that state then reminded me back to here, which is how we got to this. And you're like, that weirdly makes sense, but I never would have gotten there just from looking at that license plate.
It's funny. There were moments like that when you were growing up that it just hit me how smart you were, right? Like how bright you were. And I think that's sort of
feel bright.
It doesn't, right? But you are, right? Because you're making all of these connections and you're sort of a relational database as opposed to linear. You put all these things together, but to me, it's always been fascinating. And maybe I don't remember that exact moment, but I like wonder if that might have been the seed of this podcast of being like, whoa, because understanding where your mind was at any given moment was always this adventure that, you would take us on. And I know it's not always a fun adventure for you, but it definitely for me was always just this reminder of just how incredibly, incredibly gifted you were. And what it reminds me of what she talks about is that your kid may seem like they're not motivated by anything. Like if you ask you, like, how can you get yourself motivated today? You might be like, oh, I don't know. But then the question is, and she says, is like, what do they do anyway? Like, what do they enjoy doing? And that can help you to try to figure out, is it play? Is it competition? Is it creativity? Is it humor? Is it interest? Is it, what is it that's getting at that? And I think she had sort of this, or is it just hurry up? That's how it gets done, right?
Yeah.
But the reason though, and the thing I think that we need to keep reminding ourselves of is that it's because the brain is seeking stimulation to get going. And that's how she put it. And only it'll only naturally activate by things that they find engaging.
Mm.
So she said, basically, you just have to accept it. Like, you just have to accept in yourself, and you have to accept that in your kids, that they need outside stimulation to get them going, because their brains do not have the chemical fuel that is needed to be able to do it for themselves sometimes, like internally.
And I just remembered that we're talking about a parenting book. But this is
Right?
like, Michelle, but
But
this makes so much sense about like to this morning,
yeah,
um, about why I kept telling Brian, like, no, you have to talk. Like, if you want to teach me, because he's always ever wanted to do, you guys, he's a sweet man.
He wants to be a teacher.
He's just wanted to teach me grammar, and he wants it to
Yeah.
stick for me, because I
Yeah.
keep asking him and I don't remember.
Yeah.
And so I finally told him today, I'm like, you have to talk to me in my language if you want me to learn this. And
Right.
so, and I asked him to kind of introvert it after the fact. And again, he's given me permission to talk about him. I should
Which
say that,
is, yeah.
you know, it's just so
No,
lovely.
it's
And I appreciate it, because then it allows me to like be able to bring these kinds of conversation, like these topics up. But
Right.
like I literally had to, I had to create, like, the idea of grammar is so boring.
Yeah.
So mind-numbingly boring.
Yeah.
But like thinking about Daisy twirling around and like creating a
Yeah.
cartoon, you know, arrow, like tickles my mind. It kind of makes me giggle, like it tickles me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and we've learned this about me specifically, like if something tickles me,
Mm-hmm.
it's usually better for me. And like the same
Right.
thing with like you know me in sports. I love me
Right.
some sports. And then if Josh, like, you know, says, "Hey, think of the football as Simon and your dog Simon, and imagine you want to take Simon home." And I was like, "I do. I want to protect Simon." He's like, "Yes, you're going to protect Simon, and you're going to be the defensive person because you're protecting him." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to protect him." And then you're
Yeah.
going to try to run that ball like take Simon home. And I'm like, "I want to get Simon home. Yes, I need to keep him safe."
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like having that like and figuring out like it goes back to this idea of like life has all these different tools, and you're trying to figure out what tool is
Yes.
going to work for you. And the thing is, like, the thing that Alcina, my PT person who we all know now and love, and if you haven't listened to any of my stuff, go back and listen to some about Alcina. She's my PT lady. She says that you have to learn all these different tools because you don't know when you're going to need a wrench or when you're going to need a hammer,
Right.
because they're used in totally different scenarios. Like, you're not going to use a hammer in the toilet, hopefully. You're going to use a wrench. But then also you do sometimes need to know how to use an Allen wrench for like these little random projects. Like you have like, so there's going to be different tools for different projects. And so like, if you only think like, I just have this one way of doing something,
Right.
you're going to be sorely disappointed in life.
And so for some people, that might be that things need to be novel, right? And so you might have to change up routines because one routine gets too boring. And so then they need another routine, or that they need to be interested in something to do it. And I always think about this with the conversation you have with Josh about college. It was like, no, you're most tired right now. You need to pick like what your major would be now while you're tired and not motivated at the moment, because
That's
what are
right.
you naturally interested in, and what have you always been interested in your whole life? And just that's go with that, as opposed to fighting yourself on that, which I thought was great.
I think this is actually such a good point, Michelle. And I know we're running a little late, but I don't really care. So, what I think is interesting is like with Josh and his, you know, he was trying to figure out like what major he wanted to do. I don't know if we talked about this on the podcast at all,
I don't
but
think
like
so.
that was the question I had. Like he thought he wanted to do physiology and like,
Yeah.
right,
Be a doctor.
like be a doctor. And like, I mean, he could, and he'd be amazing at it. And that's not the point. The point I was trying to make with him was like, hey, you know, I want you to have fun and like enjoy learning how to be like, you're going to have so many difficult things to learn just by leaving your house and doing everything on your own for the very first time, that like doing something overwhelming. Like I lucked into theater in a weird way, because I was like, it's the only thing that made sense at the time. and I enjoyed it. But if I hadn't done theater, I don't think I would have made it through college. And
Mm.
and also with that, it's like, you know, I think what I found is that like if I am good at something, I don't always give it the weight in my life that it needs.
Mm.
And that was the thing I told Josh. I'm like, just because like he loves history, so he wants to do
Mm-hmm.
history. And I was like, just because you love history does not mean that everyone who's ADHD loves history. There is
Right.
nothing worse in my life that I could
Than
think about
history.
studying than
Yeah.
history. But
Right.
like, who's the person in my life who's always found it fascinating and then they've recounted to me and then I am now interested in a subject that I absolutely detest because
Yeah.
they're interested in. That's
Right.
you, buddy. You're the one who's
Mm-hmm.
done that. And just because you're good at it and you enjoy it, it does not mean that it comes easy to everybody.
Right.
And that was the moment for him. He was like, "Wait, you don't like history?" And I was like, "No. I would rather nail my tongue to this table every single morning than." That was a good one for you, Michelle. Just for you.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. And I think that's this idea of accepting that our kids with complex issues or our inner child or ourselves as adults that have complex issues are going to need motivation to take action on something, because that's this whole chapter of like, I can't get my kid motivated. So like, it's interesting today seeing you're feeling really low on motivation. And you're like, okay, there's something that's very interesting to me. Can that help me to get motivated and to do these things that I wouldn't normally do? Like, does it help to say, okay, do 5 minutes so then I get to be on my puzzle for half an hour? Or does it help to say,
I get to just like, I get to be on it like guilt-free.
Guilt-free.
It's like, I'm like, I
Mhm.
would have been doing something non-productive anyways. So like, hey, I'm going to be on my puzzle. I get to do it all day. But then if I could even just get something done in 5 minutes each little chunk, that's probably half an hour of work that I wouldn't have gotten done
Right.
had I not done this.
Exactly. And figuring that out for yourself. And like she says, like, help your kids to learn this little acronym pinch or whatever, like for her, I think was the acronym, but like the idea of like, it's just a place to start to say, like, what are the things that motivate you? And maybe looking at what they do anyway, like what's the thing that they enjoy doing anyway? And why do they enjoy it? So like, why do you enjoy puzzles so much? What does it do for you?
It's physical, like, so there's like a tangible thing I can touch, which I enjoy, but it also is got defined parameters. So I don't have to choose the picture. I don't have to like decorate anything. I just have to like put it together. And so I feel accomplished, because I think another part that I don't know if this is like an ADHD thing or if this is just like if you don't deal with it at a younger age, is that there's this like complex, this like imposter syndrome complex of like, I don't feel like I am smart enough, or I don't feel like I feel like I have to do what's really, really hard in order to prove that I am smart. And that's another thing I told Josh. I was like, he was like thinking he wanted to be a doctor. And so like, you were like, hey, well, if you want to, then you need to do math, but like, you don't need to do math. And I think you were saying something about like, he didn't, like, I don't, it's like, it's just not like history is his strong suit, right? Like math is not like the thing he loves to do. And he took that on as like, oh, you don't think I can do math, Mom? Well, guess what I can do? I'm going to do math. And then my whole semester and year is going to suck. And I said, so how'd that work out for you? And he was like,
my whole year sucked.
My whole year sucked. And I was like, okay, so what did you learn? That's on you, right? Like you didn't have to do that. So that's on you. And like, what did you learn? He's like, well, I learned that it was really hard. I'm like, so do we have to do it that way again?
Yeah.
Like, do we have, like, can you just be happy with like where you are strong in and not like have to feel like you have to,
but
do
I feel
everything
like that's
hard.
what school does, is it's like, you got to be good at everything. Why?
Right.
Why do people have to be good at
Why?
everything? It doesn't help. I
Right.
do feel this way, and I did feel this way going through school, that I had pushed myself to do the things that were hardest for me to do.
Mhm.
And I look back and I'm like, gosh, I would have been so much better at so many other things, like infinitely better, right? Like really
Yeah.
good at those things. And I didn't give myself the chance to excel. And I think there are some people who only pick things that they're good at. And I think there's probably a combination,
Yeah.
of like, challenging
Get out
yourself
your comfort
sometimes.
zone.
That's
Yeah.
good. But not to the point of like you're going to spend 4 years and however many thousands of dollars on it. Like go do the thing you're really good at and just enjoy
Yeah.
it. And don't let everybody tell you who you're supposed to be with that, because and anyway, yeah,
Living
I
as a
love that you were
person,
able to get that through to him, because I definitely wasn't. And I know I wasn't saying that to him, but he just
yeah,
was hearing it in some way that, he had like decided what I was thinking. He had decided the
exactly.
story that, I was selling or something to him. And it was interesting to kind of see like
He
he couldn't let it go too.
he was having like this emotional management challenge with you. Like his
Mm. Mm.
threshold for
Mm-hmm.
you was
Yeah.
impatient
Yes.
because you're
Mm-hmm.
his mom and that's your
Yeah.
job. And if he
Yeah.
wasn't that way, I would have said, Michelle, I don't know if you're doing a great job raising him, but you did. And so like he needs to be impatient with you because that was your job. That is your responsibility to
Sure.
be that person for him. Whereas for
Sure.
me, I am the aunt who has the same affliction that he has. And so it's like there's a slightly higher threshold for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just different. It's a different
Well,
modulation and
and
all
I
that.
will say this to any parent out there, especially who's got young ones, is build that community, build that village. Because first of all, it's exhausting to do it on your own. It's
Yeah.
unnecessary to do it on your own. And there's going to be somebody in your kid's life that is going to be able to say things in a way that they're going to be able to hear it. And you're just not, like, not everything, right? Like maybe some things they're going to hear and that you're going to be the voice in their head about that or whatever. But there's going to come a point, especially when they're teenagers, I think, where they need more
Yeah.
variety. They need more, to hear it from different angles, from different perspectives, different life. So building that community isn't just for you, it's also for them,
Yeah.
because you can't be their only, and shouldn't be, probably is my thinking on it. But yeah, and thinking about what it is that motivates them and helping them to learn that, maybe you can help them with that. Maybe you need a professional, maybe you need, an aunt or an uncle or somebody who can help bring that in. But I
Well, because
agree.
like
I think
when it
that
when it comes
it's
down to it,
important. Hmm.
when it comes down to it, ultimately, is that like life is already so hard
Mm,
when you live with one of these challenges,
yeah.
metabolic or
Hmm.
neurological and
Hmm.
physical. Any of these, like your life is already at you're already like on Super Mario Bros. Level 8. You're already starting at level 8. And
Yeah.
so now you have to learn all of the rules. Like, so going to college, you have to learn all of the rules
All of it.
of
Hmm.
college already starting at level 8. So why are
Right.
you then going to go and like put yourself into a 3-dimensional game
Right.
when you only have the controller for a 2-dimensional game? Like, why are you going to do that?
Yeah.
Why not? Like it's already hard enough to like figure out, like the point of college ultimately is to like get you out of your home. It's like a transition and
Hmm.
transitioning in my opinion, transitioning into adulthood. And so like that's
Hmm.
already a tall task. So go do something that you're going to enjoy, because you're going to have classes that suck and you're going to have classes you don't enjoy. Don't worry.
But
You will have to work through those too. But
sure.
the majority of it, you will still be able to like get yourself going and like kind of have, like, if you have a couple of classes that are good and enjoyable, maybe that's kind of the same thing as like having the puzzle, and you've got these
Mm,
classes that'll kind of sustain you through the difficult one.
yeah. I think that totally makes sense. Like, how does it keeps you motivated because
Yeah.
it's something you're interested in.
Hmm.
Yeah. In your case, I think interest is a big one.
Oh my God.
And
Huge
for
for
him
me.
too, I think, as well. I think for you also, creativity and humor are such a huge
They're
huge
huge.
piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know that novelty, something being new, is always nice for you. I think that actually can be demotivating sometimes.
That one can be demotivating a lot of times.
For
Yeah.
you. Yeah. So it's interesting. Different people, I think, have different ways. But I would say like a new routine sometimes is interesting, right? Like, so, but I don't think you like it, but I think it could be.
I don't like it. I
Yeah,
mean, no, I don't like it. I don't
moving
like
to a new
doing
house,
things.
new routines.
Mm-mm.
Like, no
I don't like
thanks.
decorating on Animal
Yeah.
Crossing. I don't like
Yeah.
having to create stuff that way. Well, that's the thing is like creativity, like it's such a, I could go on that one for the entire podcast. But like, I just been thinking like creativity is important, but I think it's like, I mean, but it's weird. Like, I don't like to decorate, you know, like, so like,
But like creativity is about like your book, right? And coming up with your different scenes.
like,
I mean, I think
using your brain
creativity,
creatively.
yeah. That's what I was thinking of, but
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't, not the same in every single
Like you
medium
can
or every
use, you
single
can
way,
choose,
right?
yeah, you can choose creativity in multiple ways. So like that
Yeah.
makes sense for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for talking to me about this.
Thanks for talking to me too.
All right. Love
And
you.
letting me talk all about my nouns and verbs. And
I love it.
Megan, mother says, Megan, you can turn any noun into a verb because
And you can say, mother, we already did it
you
on
daisied.
our podcast because you daisied all over it.
You daisied all over me, mother.
I love you.
I love you too.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to the Spicy Brain Podcast, brought to you by Spicy Brain Studios. We really appreciate you guys joining us today as we used our real life moment, my grammar lesson this morning, to walk through the 6 areas that executive functioning manages. And next week, we're going to build on this by talking more about how we say no to catastrophizing as parents and say more yes. Yes, say more yes to the small successes that are happening right in front of us. And Michelle, I actually have so many things to talk about, so I'm excited about this next episode. Make sure to follow or subscribe on your favorite podcast app. And if you're enjoying the show, leaving us a review, it really helps the other Neurospicy folks find their way here too. But until then, you guys, here is to a great end of the week. And remember, Michelle, we gotta stay curious
and joyful, Megan,
with a whole lot of radical acceptance. Hi, kick. I went up that time. Love you.
Love you too.